Hi, this is D13, and welcome to Thundertown. So let's take a look back in this final episode, and this is from episode 1. Welcome to Thundertown. This is the waterfalls. But, so this town, starting off the town, I was thinking I wanted to fit all around the size of this Mars dome that City Walk City Wall did for his Mars series. So I copied some of the walls I had created here, and you'll see the river down through here. This originally, the valley was a river valley. So you can see me trying to figure out what exactly do I want to do down here. So I built the thing you saw before, and then I built this sort of, octagon-shaped area. I thought, well, the main town will be inside here, and then outside will be all kinds of support stuff. And with the river, I was actually thinking there'd be, a little port, a river port with barges and things like that. And I might do a couple smaller towns up along the river. And here you can see these like blocks I brought in to sort of show where how big I wanted the city to be. And so I marked it all off like this so I could see where we were at. So it's very early. Then I started thinking, how would we get in and out of this area? I built some little bridges. And this is another area. I actually put in a lot of the rocks. And so episode 2, we built Pigstar Energy. Meant to be a biogas style facility with using the excrement from the pigs. And it would be a place also to sort of recycle food, any food waste. Would just go to the pigs, and that's what they would eat. Doing a nice little shot here along the wall that where that sort of separates the energy area from the town, so that nobody would be able to get in here if they weren't supposed to be here. If you damage this area, there'd be no more electricity in the town, and that would be bad. This is one of the areas I just loved working on the lighting for. Just seeing those little pigs move around at night is just really cool. So here's a little bit of a behind the scenes look at the roads. So when I first started working on this, this valley, I made these little plateaus that I was going to fill in. And I had some ideas what was going to go on each of them. And I had to do these road areas, or these roads through here. And I put in these nice, cool, dirt roads throughout the place. You can actually see a little Thunderdome, a little dome right there I put up on top of where the Thunderdome eventually ended up. There's some of the cable cars going to the upper areas. I don't think I showed any of the building of the roads that come out on those upper areas in any of the previous videos. But here you can see a pretty good shot of the valley as well. So in episodes 3 and 4, we did the radio plateau. I was really learning how to do a lot of detailing here, on the fly. I wasn't really certain how to put together a post-apocalyptic town, and if I can get people walking along this pathway over here. But I did. I ended up using the invisible paths, and I stuck some buildings underneath in areas that you can't see, and it caused people to walk around. I believe that's like a water pump, or I don't know if it's a water pump or electrical. It's that windmill type thing there. I really had a lot of fun building this. In the back, you can still see like a staging area with all kinds of bits and pieces of things that I was going to put in the town. I really junked up this area. I think I used 3 or 4 different radio antennas here. There in the background you can see how the valley once looked before I came back and got rid of all of that. I had like a old highway bridge that was collapsed back there over the river. So episodes 5 and 6, Maximus Mining and Manufacturing. So this was really an ambitious build for me. It ended up being rather large across 2 episodes with all this dirt, all these rocks, and switchbacks for all the roads here for the trucks. And again, this was a very early build for me in terms of lots of detailing. My previous 2 cities that I had worked on weren't as detailed or anywhere near as detailed as this. Doing this kind of level of detail was definitely inspired by some of the really good, really good detailers out there on, that you can find on YouTube. If you go look for like City Walk, City Walls, Mars series, which I mention every episode probably, it's a big inspiration. And of course, these are the big Hollywood letters that I put up here for Maximus. I just like the little flashing red lights as well. I mean, it's not that there's going to be a lot of flying vehicles around here. I just thought it looked nice at night. And all these buildings on the left here have a functional building inside them from the game. Some have got additional PO'd buildings alongside them to create more detail. There's a little building over here on the right that in one of these episodes I actually asked people to put in the comments a name for the building if they felt like it, and no one ever gave me a name for the building. Which is okay. It has a name that shall remain unknown. A lot of little issues with the trucks disappearing and stuff. I had spawning turned off or despawning turned on, and so sometimes trucks would just disappear. And there's a lot of the cliff edge was already in here, and I was going to be building something up on this cliff up to the top right up here that you can see, but hadn't got around to it. There is a cable car building up there, and a road that goes back through the cliff. Here's a little scene, a little still that I took from a little bit of detailing I did here with a little broken down truck. Sorry, but that tow truck's not going to cut it. So here's a little behind the scenes of starting off. I was trying to figure out what to do with the cliffs. So I had already started raising the cliffs up here, but I hadn't come in and put in any of the gray flame rocks to fill in the valley, which I think you saw as bonus content on a couple of the episodes. So this area that you see here, this little area outside of the town, this is the real behind the scenes. I brought in, I wanted to move the mining from the town side to look like everything was being mined underground. So in order to do this, I still needed a mine somewhere in the town. So I got rid of my little placeholder area, and I expanded it to the other side of this, so it was all one big mine area. And then I moved all my little mine block buildings and things like that to the other side here. This is actually bringing over service cubes and things like that to each of these. Like police and things like that. And then, I hope City Planner Plays doesn't watch this, because all I did for water in this town was I just covered everything. I didn't try to go under the roads or any of that stuff. My original plan was to have the water pipes above ground, to have pipes running everywhere. But building the pipes turned out to be, when I started working on the Waterworks area in later episodes, it was a lot of effort. So here you can see I put in some of these mines. I even used underground mines, even though they're above ground, behind the cliff's edge. And then just put in some of these roundabouts so the trucks could have an easier time turning around rather than just turning around at the end of the road. So I put my waterworks back here as well, my water and sewage area. So then here you can see just tons of trucks going through here to each of those 4 sections. And they're all individual, so they're all separated from each other. So that way the trucks going through here aren't going from one to the other to the other. Like they go in and they come out of these little areas. So now episode 7 was the Waterworks, and this is where I took the pool of water underneath the skull and replaced it with this, water basin filled with sharks. And then I built this little treatment area off to the side where the water would be pumped and stored and treated and things like that. So this would be a very important area of the town. And these were the pipes. These pipes, wow, were they a lot of work. Individual POs of each little segment having to be put together. And here you can see a shot with all of the rocks in the background. Like I had already done the cliffs behind here. And I love this shot coming over the top of Radio Plateau and in towards the Waterworks. And I built these warehouses here, and I end up reusing them all over the town. I just love the look of these little warehouses. With the raised area on the top and things like that. There's a flag up on top of the one on the left there. That's the emperor, the flag of the emperor, the town flag, so to speak. There you can see that bright green truck with the barrels again. That's my garbage truck at this point in time. Well, here I actually did a lot of wire work and streetlight work. So you see a lot of telephone poles here, or power poles through here. My intention was eventually to do the whole town with power poles like this. Each of the wires is its own individual little network that was pulled in here and placed individually. I love this graffiti. There's so much good graffiti out there, and there's a disgruntled guy graffiti. His work is just amazing. I think at the time I was doing these videos, I had an older video card, an older processor on my motherboard, so I upped everything quite a bit right around this time, because you see a lot of stutter here in these videos, which mostly went away after that. You can see the specs for my current specs for my computer down below in the description of the video. Again, lighting this up at night was so much fun to try to get the lights in here, and I still wanted it to be dark enough, dark at night, but have lights along the roads and stuff, and just have that this sort of a orangish, white orange and orange hue to everything at night. Here's a little shot of the valley from end to end. This is before I increase the size of the wall there. I did get, at this point I had done all of the rocks along the outer edges of the valley. Here's a little overview of where we're at this point in time. So next up was the Maximus tire and rubber. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to have an oil processing facility, basically. So I ended up building this. You know, it's rather large. It's got a train track that goes underneath and through the building. This big smokestack. And of course that awesome Maximus white raised letter tire on the roof. Which is actually a tiny little tire prop that I made really big with procedural objects. There's a big crane over on the right that actually rotates automatically. It's animated. It goes left and right, and then the little crane thing on the bottom goes up and down. You can see one of my trucks pulling through there. This area I also grunged up really well, and this had a lot of pipes here as well. This was a lot of pipes. It is honestly, after I finish this, the reason that there's not a lot of pipes anywhere else, because like I said, I wanted to run the water pipes above ground everywhere. And who knows, if I had been able to continue the series, maybe I would have. Maybe I would have just said, okay, I'm going to do it. You can see some of those old mining tunnels back there that are closed off with the doors closed on them. We would, maybe this whole valley might have been a mining area with lots of these underground mines through here, and some of them are no longer capable of being mined or collapsed or for storage. Who knows exactly what's going on under there, but the roads go underneath and they go inside the cliff edge a little tiny bit for each of these. They don't really go anywhere. The one on the top here does go through, and it comes out higher up, and so they can drive around and get up there and go through and inside the mountain and come down somewhere else. More water tanks and these big oil tanks and things like that. Like I said, there's some actually storage buildings underneath these PO'd factory buildings. There's a giant working like plastics plant under here, and farther back there's other like pellet making buildings and things like that. So all the things you would need for the oil industry are here, except for mining the oil or extracting the oil. So here's the behind the scenes of where the oil is extracted. So again, like the other, so here you're actually seeing a small town that I built near the edge of the map. This is where the trains go and then come back, things like that, and the blimp. So here I'm doing another little town, but let's just call it Oil Town, for the lack of a better word, and just come in here and just build this little town with the little blocks. Dumped a bunch of oil underneath the ground here, and made this an oil area. So we've got all the oil buildings and everything that it needs to mine the oil, but nothing to process the oil. And there's some storage, but it's all set to like get rid of the oil to try to export it. And there's a train track you see on the right there. That's where the trucks that run on the train tracks go and pick up the oil, and then they bring it right here into this building. And then it goes out of this building and gets stored here and gets used in this area. So here's a behind the scenes of what all of this looked like when I first built it to get it functional. So you actually see some of these big oil tanks and the buildings underneath, the big giant warehouse under there. Like, all of these buildings are functional buildings. They're not POs. Eventually I come back and put POs over the top of these buildings. Except for these big round, 2 big round ones, I replaced them with 3 smaller round ones. It's a good shot of the valley as we are here, finished at this point with the tire and rubber. So episodes 9, 10, and 11 were the East Gate and Bartertown, and this is where you start off here, coming over the wall. I had done a lot of the work on this wall off camera, or lost the footage of it somehow. But in this episode, I did come back and do quite a bit of work adding to the wall, adding these skulls, and then you see the building of these drawbridges and all the paths and this little pedestrian path going across. It's the only way the pedestrians from inside the town can get outside the town outside of taking a bus. So when they want to walk in and out of the town, they will walk in and out across that bridge. And hidden underneath that wall is a road that goes the length of the wall, so that you get access to the cubes that I place underneath the military buildings and stuff like that. Here you can see the truck corridor on the left here, and then the main road on the right. So the road on the right is the 2-lane dirt road that's available on the workshop I believe from Ronix, and I put it in the editor and made it 4 lanes. I just basically added 2 more lanes to it and turned off parking along the roads, so that there's actually, it's almost like having a highway, even though people can walk along it. It's a 2-lane each way road now that is the main road that goes straight through the town, and everywhere else in the town uses the 2-lane roads, where it's just 1 lane each direction. But any place where I really needed to have, like wider roads, just like the main drag through here, and a few other places where I wanted to have, where I had a little bit of traffic issues, I upgraded to, it's the same exact width as the 2-lane road. So, but the cars fit on it, and they don't really bump into each other. Well, they did, but I got rid of the giant monster truck that you used to see driving around the town. So here's the Bartertown area at night. As an homage to the MadMax Bartertown, I built this little night market area. There's this blue car right there that you can see. I don't know where I got that from. It was like a low poly count. I eventually got rid of that thing. Again, I put in a lot of the wires here. Put little posts coming out of a lot of the buildings and just did little drop wires down to each one. There's somebody with their camper who decided to go camp in Bartertown, I guess. The road is closed. Can't he read? And knowing that this is the last episode when I shot this scene coming out, pulling back out of Welcome to Thundertown here, I didn't really realize that it wouldn't be long before the series would be over. So here's a behind the scenes, a little bit of just sort of me going through and marking each of the areas in here, giving them all a little zoning, not zoning, what do you call it? I created these areas. I'm putting their names down so I know what they all are and what I wanted everywhere. Here's the oil and rubber, and then like there's the Uptown district, which I never was able to get around to fully fleshing out. It's just got the blimp stop up there and a casino. Episodes 12, 13, and 14, the Thunderdome. So this again was another. Took a long time to build this. A lot of planning and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Here you see lots of people walking into these doorways. This has the raised seats, so people actually go and will sit in the bleachers around the area. There's some lions that spawn, you know, like little lion spawners. So there's moving lions in the arena. Tons of like my little pedestrian walkways going in and out of these sides of the arena, and the wonderful statues. Some of these, you know, on the workshop are just so beautiful. Extremely high poly count or tris count. And there you can see a really good shot of the little amusement park area and the people streaming into the Thunderdome, and the market that's just outside here. Up above there on the top, you can see the VIP area. We're sort of zooming in right towards the Emperor's private box. He's over at the Circus Maximus right now. And there's my bell. Love that bell. I mean, during the episodes you didn't see me come in and put in those lights up top, or I think that's the main thing that wasn't shown. It's just the finished lighting, the little red lights in the eyes of the skulls and things like that. But I gotta say, you know, like finally seeing the Thunderdome come together in this city was, I mean, if the file would have been corrupted right after this, I still would have been happy that I got this finished. Because this was the thing that I had planned to build from day one. I had that Mars dome, that exact size, or very close to that exact size, sitting on top of this hill for months. You can see this flying bus or something, or vehicle that was just flying through the sky there. That seems to happen from time to time, and I can pause it and delete it, and then it comes back after a while. Must be a broken piece of road somewhere that's doing that. And here we are at night with those like stadium lights lighting up the whole area, and the fire coming out of those little shortened smokestacks. Oh, and the red eyes, yeah. Far in the background there, you can see the lights from above the smaller training arena and the Maximus mining and manufacturing all lit up at night in the background. Way on the right, you can see the East Gate. So there's a quick flyover of the finished smaller arena, training arena. And hopefully nobody has problems with things spinning on the screen right now. As I did this rotate and pull out of the entire valley, so here we can see everything all lit up at night as it currently stands. So here's the little bit behind the scenes. I didn't show this in the episode. This is what the pathways under here looked like before I made them invisible. And you can see the raised people just floating in the air. But yeah, there's lots of little living space under here and things like that. So here's the final version of this this arena, the smaller training arena, that you didn't quite see me finish to this level on during the episode. But I found this footage at some point, and I thought, oh, I got to add this to the final episode. So episode 15, Paying Homage. This is the episode where we really paid homage to a lot of the characters from the MadMax movies. And I didn't have really good shots of the areas for cinematics. Like even the Knight Rider cycle, I only had a horrible little piece of video that I turned into a still that's blurry. So here behind the scenes, here's all the different characters. I put them on billboards, and I put these billboards around the town where I was going to build their things. I actually had this Mad Max Fury Road billboard I was going to put just outside the town just for fun. Oh, and here's the casino. I brought in the Palms Casino, and these are working casinos. So they light up at nice, and they draw people up here, and there's, you know, they exit out through those tunnels to the lower area of the town. And here I'm putting in some different buildings underneath it and some commercial to bring people up here. So I was just getting started on this and shifted gears and went back down into the main area of the town. So I was saving this footage for when I was going to eventually finish the casino, and never did. The final 2 episodes were episode 16 and 17, and this was the Circus Maximus. And unfortunately, we don't see me build the Emperor's area there and do some of the detailing, but this is the final version of it. Some of these support buildings down here along the outside, where the chariot racing stuff would, you know, be prepped. I put some little water tanks or something in here along the side. And there's a path, invisible path going along the side here, so people can exit through those side doors. A lot of buses come up here. There's a lot of buildings I built around the outer edge down there. And the Emperor himself is this little animated, like, Banana Republic Emperor guy. I will put a little thing up on the screen here so you can find it on the workshop. It's so cool. If you're doing a Banana Republic build, I think that's what you need. I don't mean like the store Banana Republic. There he is. He's got a little pool up here and a whole bunch of, you know, family friends, I guess you would say, you know, sunning themselves up here. Friends of the Maximus family. There's a tiny little St. Louis arch there. I get it into every build if I can. And there's the final shot of the valley as it stood. I mean, I must have had a premonition that something bad was going to happen, because I took these shots right before I had problems. I do think there's enough space in the valley. I probably had enough space here to do content for another, you know, another 10 or 15 episodes. There's the final walkthrough. I'm just sort of moving around the town here and looking at stuff. We're going to zoom in on a few of these spots, but yeah. On the top left right there's some buildings up on a cliff's edge that were where the penitentiary was going to be. So there's a good shot of coming through the valley of the radio plateau. And some of the trucks running in and out of the valley. There's a bridge that goes between those 2 plateaus. I'm going to zoom in over here a little bit on the mining area. You get a pretty good shot of, there's some of these raised areas up on the top here that we're eventually going to get filled in with things. And oh, here's our final look at the tire and rubber. Oh, and there we go. The final, so that you can see all the buildings over that I actually added down here around the outer edge and for the Circus Maximus. Brought that road all the way around the back there. The final close up here of the Thunderdome. A lot of those buildings that go underneath there, you know, like a support area built underneath the arena, and then it's a little bit of Waterworks. You can actually see the sharks in the water there. And here's as I pulled up there, you can actually see how little of the map is actually filled in. Here's from our first episodes with the power plant and a little bit of Eastgate here in Bartertown. So this will be the first exposure anybody would have coming into the town. And there's our big old gate, and eventually, I don't know if I ever brought the full gate over to the west side. Yes, I did. So you can actually see it there on the left, the west gate. Thanks so much for watching the series. I really appreciate you stopping by. I hope you'll stick around for after the credits to see a little preview of my next series. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you soon.